Here's something few people say out loud. Many older adults living alone aren't sad. They're finally free. Free from the noise, the constant schedules, and the quiet expectations that came with raising families, running homes, and caring for everyone else. Society paints solitude as a warning sign, a symbol of decline, but for millions of seniors across the US, it's become something sacred, a return to self. There's a quiet rebellion happening behind closed doors. Seniors are discovering that the sound of silence isn't loneliness, it's healing. It's the gentle hum of peace after decades of movement. When the house is quiet, something remarkable happens. You can finally hear your own thoughts again. And those thoughts aren't about loss. They're about possibility. In this video, we're peeling back the curtain on 7 powerful secrets only seniors living alone truly understand. Insights that don't come from self-help books or magazines. They come from lived experience, from courage, from rediscovering what it means to be your own companion. So before we dive in, hit that like button and subscribe. Because independence after 60 isn't something to fear, it's something to celebrate. Meet Lorraine Beckett. Lorraine Beckett is 79 years old, a retired school bus driver from Minnesota with a spirit that could outshine most 20-year-olds. For nearly 40 years, she drove generations of neighborhood kids to and from school, through blizzards, heat waves, and more than a few backseat arguments. Every morning before she left home, she'd grab her bright yellow cap and tuck her hair beneath it. That same cap now hangs by her front door, a quiet reminder of all the roads she's already traveled and how far she's still willing to go. After losing her husband and watching her children move to other states, Lorraine faced the question most seniors dread. What now? Her family assumed she'd downsize into assisted living. Neighbors whispered that living alone at her age was too risky. But Lorraine smiled, packed her favorite quilt, and bought a small one-bedroom apartment overlooking a public park. She said, "If I'm going to start this chapter alone, I want to wake up to trees, not walls." And that's exactly what she did. What began as a scary leap became her greatest adventure. Lorraine didn't just survive living alone. She transformed it into a lifestyle that redefined independence. Over time, she uncovered 7 powerful secrets that changed how she viewed aging, peace, and freedom itself. Truths most people don't learn until they stop being afraid of their own company. Secret number 1. Silence isn't loneliness, it's healing. When Lorraine first moved into her little apartment, the silence hit her like a wave. No footsteps echoing through the hall. No television humming in the background. Just the soft hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of wind brushing against her window. For the first few days, it felt strange, even unsettling. But then something shifted. She realized that silence wasn't empty. It was full. Full of reflection, memory, and a kind of peace she'd never known when her days were filled with other people's schedules. Now, her mornings start with the creak of her porch chair and the gentle chatter of sparrows instead of morning news or alarm clocks. She says, "I used to think silence meant being forgotten. Now, I know it means I'm finally listening to myself." And she's not alone in that feeling. Recent wellness studies from 2025 show that older adults who spend intentional quiet time each day, even just 15 minutes, experience lower blood pressure, sharper memory, and better emotional balance. Experts call it therapeutic solitude. Lorraine calls it hearing myself think again. She doesn't rush through breakfast anymore. She doesn't fill every moment with noise. Instead, she sips her coffee slowly, letting her thoughts drift wherever they need to go, like a soft conversation between her past and her present. Do you find comfort in silence, too? Let us know in the comments. Your answer might inspire someone who's afraid to slow down. Secret number 2. The freedom to choose joy daily. For Lorraine, freedom after 70 didn't look like plane tickets or bucket lists, it looked like choice. She laughs about it now. "I eat breakfast when I feel like it, sometimes at noon. And if I want pancakes and coffee for dinner, well, no one's stopping me." That's the quiet joy of living alone. Every small decision becomes your own. No compromises, no apologies, no schedules made for someone else's comfort. Her apartment hums with classical music from dawn till dusk. Sometimes, she paints in her pajamas, a smear of blue on her cheek and a smile she doesn't need to explain. She once told her neighbor, I finally stopped asking permission to be happy. And that line, simple as it is, holds the power of her entire new life. In 2025, more seniors across the US are embracing something called the microjoys movement. Small, everyday pleasures proven to improve mental health and life satisfaction. Researchers from Stanford found that people over 65 who intentionally build joy into their routines report 40% higher emotional resilience. These aren't grand gestures, they're quiet rebellions against routine stress. For Lorraine, joy looks like a second cup of coffee, an extra hour on the porch, or painting sunflowers just because she loves yellow. Living alone gave her something she hadn't realized she'd lost, the right to live by her own rhythm. What's one small joy that makes your day better? Share it in the comments, someone might need your reminder today. Secret number 3. Redefining family. When Lorraine first started living alone, she feared the silence would remind her of who wasn't there. Her children in other states, her late husband, the gatherings that had faded into memory. But instead, something surprising happened. The world began to fill with new faces, new rhythms, and unexpected care. I realized, she says, my family didn't shrink, it expanded. Her neighbor, Carmen, a 42-year-old single mom, leaves soup at her door on cold nights. In return, Lorraine keeps an extra carton of milk in her fridge just in case Carmen runs out. At the library, where she volunteers twice a week, she mentors a 16-year-old boy named Jordan who dreams of becoming a teacher. He helps me with my phone, I help him with his essays. We trade lessons, she laughs. Across America in 2025, this quiet redefinition of family is becoming a social revolution. Sociologists call it the rise of intergenerational friendship, where seniors and younger adults form mutual support networks that replace the old idea of family as just blood or obligation. It's happening in churches, apartment complexes, senior centers, even online book clubs. Living alone taught Lorraine something powerful. Love doesn't retire, it simply finds new places to grow. Her circle might not share her last name, but they share her laughter, her meals, and sometimes, her silence. And that, she says, feels more like family than anything I ever had before. Who's part of your chosen family? Tag or mention them in the comments, they deserve to be celebrated. Secret number 4. Confidence through capability. There's a quiet kind of confidence that comes from doing things yourself, not to prove anything to anyone, but to remind yourself you still can. For Lorraine, it started small, replacing a loose cabinet handle one morning. The screwdriver slipped once, she muttered something her late husband used to say when tools didn't cooperate, then she tightened the final screw, stepped back, and smiled. Didn't need YouTube for that one, she said proudly. That tiny moment changed something in her. It wasn't about the cabinet. It was about control, about realizing that self-sufficiency didn't end with age, it evolved with it. Every drawer she fixed, every bill she organized, every plant she repotted became proof that she was still capable, still clever, still her. Occupational therapists across the United States are noticing this too. In 2025, there's been a 35% rise in age-in-place training. Hands-on workshops teaching older adults how to handle small home repairs, manage technology, and adapt their living spaces safely. These programs aren't just about safety, they're about dignity. Each skill mastered brings a new layer of emotional strength. Lorraine says, every time I fix something myself, I feel younger, not older. That's the hidden magic of independence. It turns fear into fuel. The very tasks that once seemed like reminders of what she couldn't do became proof of what she still could. In her living room sits a small plaque she bought online that reads, "She believed she could, so she adjusted her glasses and did it anyway." It makes her laugh every morning, because it's not just funny, it's true. And the science backs it up. Studies show seniors who maintain small household responsibilities experience higher cognitive sharpness and better emotional health than those who delegate everything away. It's not about pride, it's about purpose. Lorraine's advice for anyone over 70 living alone: don't give away your power to the idea of needing help. Keep learning, keep fixing, keep trying. Capability is a muscle, use it, and it'll never leave you. What's one small thing you've done recently that made you feel capable again? Tell us below, your story might inspire someone today. Secret number 5. You discover what truly matters. When you live alone, the objects around you begin to speak, not loudly, but truthfully. For Lorraine, every shelf, drawer, and photo held a story. One weekend, she decided to open the boxes in her hallway closet, the one she'd avoided for years. Inside were her husband's old tools, dusty from time and memory. She took a deep breath, held the hammer he'd used to fix everything from squeaky doors to her broken heart, and whispered, "Thank you." Then she donated the box. But she didn't let everything go. On her mantel sits a single framed photo of him, smiling in their first house, sleeves rolled up, paint on his cheek. "I didn't lose him," she said quietly. "I made room for both of us to keep living." That's the secret people miss. Decluttering isn't about throwing away memories. It's about protecting them from being buried under what no longer serves you. Across the US, more older adults are embracing purposeful minimalism, a 2025 wellness trend that's less about aesthetics and more about emotional clarity. Seniors who declutter their homes often report lower stress and deeper peace of mind, because every remaining object carries meaning. Lorraine's living room now feels like a reflection of her heart, open, warm, and calm. "Every item I keep now has to earn its place," she laughs. "If it doesn't make me smile or help me breathe easier, it's gone." Science backs her choice. Studies show that letting go of excess possessions can lower cortisol levels and improve mental clarity in older adults. But beyond the research, there's something deeply spiritual about it, a quiet acknowledgement that less really can mean more. Lorraine's story reminds us that home isn't the things we keep, it's the peace we feel when we walk through the door. What's one thing in your home that still holds deep meaning for you? Share it below. Your story might touch someone's heart today. Secret number 6. Time becomes a friend again. When you live alone, the clock stops being a master and starts becoming a companion. Lorraine discovered that truth slowly, almost accidentally. In the beginning, she still woke up at 5:30 a.m. out of habit from her years as a school bus driver. She'd sit at her kitchen table, waiting for the day to begin, until one morning she realized something. There was no bell to chase, no rush to meet, no one waiting on her schedule but herself. Now, her mornings unfold like poetry. She brews her coffee without glancing at the clock. She waters her potted geraniums while the sun rises, humming softly to herself. By noon, she's already read a chapter of a new mystery novel, eaten breakfast at her own pace, and taken a walk through the park. There's no guilt in her timing, only rhythm. "I stopped counting hours," she says with a quiet smile. "Now, I measure peace." This isn't laziness, it's liberation. New 2025 research in the Journal of Aging and Wellness reveals that seniors who live alone and follow self-paced routines show improved dopamine balance, meaning higher satisfaction, fewer stress spikes, and better cognitive flexibility. Scientists call it chronological freedom, the ability to live according to internal rhythm instead of external pressure. And that's the real secret. When you stop living by other people's clocks, your body remembers what peace feels like. Lorraine says she no longer feels the weight of should. She paints when inspiration comes, naps when her body asks, and reads late into the night without apology. "I used to think time was something I was running out of," she admits. "Now it feels like time is finally running with me." This slower pace has even changed how she connects with others. Instead of hurried calls or distracted visits, she now makes time intentional. Her daughter jokes that Mom's schedule is booked with joy, and maybe that's the point. Living alone teaches something profound. That time doesn't need to be filled to feel full. It can be quiet, unhurried, and still mean everything. If you had one free morning with no obligations, how would you spend it? Tell us in the comments. Your answer might inspire someone's next peaceful day. Secret number 7. True happiness is quiet. After decades of motion, noise, and responsibility, there comes a moment when silence stops feeling empty and starts feeling sacred. Lorraine says she never realized how loud her life had been until it finally got quiet. The decades were full of ringing phones, school bells, crying babies, dinner conversations, and the hum of everyday obligations. "I didn't know I'd been craving peace until I finally had it," she said softly. "It's not loneliness I feel at night. It's gratitude for another sunrise, another chance to just be. Her evenings now are gentle rituals of stillness. She turns off the TV, lights a small candle, and sits by the window with a cup of chamomile tea. The neighborhood quiets, and she watches the lights go out one by one across the street. In that stillness, something profound happens. She feels present. I used to chase meaning in other people's lives, Lorraine reflects. Now, I find it in my own. Psychologists in 2025 have a name for this emotional transformation: content solitude. It's when peace replaces panic, and stillness becomes a source of strength. In studies conducted by the National Institute on Aging, seniors who live alone and practice nightly reflection rituals report 40% higher life satisfaction compared to those in constant shared environments. The secret isn't withdrawal, it's restoration. For Lorraine, happiness no longer comes from constant plans or company. It's in the softness of her own breathing, the slow pace of her steps, the warm weight of her cat sleeping at her feet. She no longer measures joy in grand gestures, but in the gentle pulse of an unhurried evening. True happiness, she says, is when the quiet feels like home. This kind of peace doesn't come from escaping people. It comes from rediscovering yourself after giving so much of your life away to others. Living alone after 70 isn't the end of connection. It's the beginning of authenticity. It's the point where you stop performing for the world and finally start living for yourself. And maybe that's the unspoken truth every independent senior discovers. Freedom isn't loud, it whispers. It lives in the moments no one sees. Speech balloon mini prompt: if you've discovered peace living alone, comment the word freedom below. Let's remind the world that solitude can be strength. As the video draws to a close, the music softens and the camera lingers on the stillness of Lorraine's small apartment. The afternoon sun spilling across her bookshelf, a teacup half full, the faint hum of peace that only comes from a well-lived moment. We've journeyed through the 7 quiet truths that redefine aging: the serenity of silence, the daily freedom to choose joy, the beauty of a chosen family, the confidence of doing things on your own, the clarity that comes from letting go, the comfort of unhurried time, and the quiet power of peace itself. Lorraine stands by her window, watching the trees sway gently in the wind. I didn't choose to be alone, she says with a soft, knowing smile. I chose to live again. Her words echo what millions of older adults across the country are realizing. Living alone isn't an ending. It's a beginning. It's where independence meets peace, where solitude turns into strength, and where every sunrise feels like a small act of courage. This is the quiet revolution sweeping through seniors across America. People reclaiming their space, their identity, and their rhythm without apology. Independence after 70 isn't rebellion. It's wisdom. It's the moment you stop proving yourself and start enjoying yourself. If this story touched your heart, hit like, share, and subscribe to Elderly Dose. You're not alone in your independence. You're part of a quiet revolution of older adults redefining what aging looks and feels like. And don't miss what's coming next. 10 signs you're aging well, even if you don't feel like it. You might just realize you're doing better than you think.